Okay, so what I have here is my first attempt in making chili beans from scratch. And so what I have here is 2 pounds of light kidney beans, and they've been soaking in water for about 6 hours, and I'm about to empty it into the large pot and slow boil them for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then after that, I'm going to start going and seasoning my meat, and then add the beans to the meat and slow cook it again for another hour and a half to 2 hours. And I'll show you the process of the meat after I get done boiling these beans. So let's go and add these into the big pot. Now you want to make sure you have enough water in there so when you boil it, because you're going to lose quite a bit through evaporation. And so we're going to add 2 more pounds, or 2 more cups. All right. And then we'll put this on medium heat. We'll put the lid on it. And we'll let that come to a boil. And then if we need to, we'll lower the heat and let it slow boil for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then once that's done, then I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to prepare the meat. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to check our beans and make sure it's at a slow boil. And right now it's at a boil. You want to stir it occasionally so it doesn't stick to the bottom, and you want to keep an eye on the water and make sure it doesn't dry out. You don't want too much water, because in the end result your chili beans will be a lot of liquid. We're trying to go for a meatier, a hearty type of chili. So anyways, this is what you want. You want it about a slow boil, and once it's at this stage, you're gonna let it go for about an hour and a half, checking it once in a while and stirring it make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom, and make sure the water level is just right. So we'll let this go for an hour and a half.
A few moments later.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and check it right now, just to make sure it's still plenty of water in there and it's not sticking. Okay, the water is getting just a little low than I would like, so we're gonna go ahead and add a couple cups of water. And then I'm going to go ahead and just lower it a little bit to a medium low. And continue to let that boil. Okay, so it's been beans have been cooking for boiling for about an hour and a little over an hour and a half. So let's go ahead and check on it. All right. So the beans been cooking now for about over an hour and a half, close to 2 hours. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and take it off the heat, and we're gonna start going and cooking and seasoning the meat for our chili. Turn this up to a medium high. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit of vegetable oil. Okay. So now I got about 1.5 onions. I'm going to throw that in here. I'm going to throw in about 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. And to that, I'm going to add 2 bell peppers, green bell peppers. All right. And then here I have about 3.5 of ground beef. It's not too lean. You want to get a good ratio of a little bit of fat in there because you want some of that oils to come out and that natural beef fat taste into it. So this is about 3.5. And then what I'm also going to do is add some sausage into this. This is an Italian sausage. It's seasoned kind of hot. And what I did already is I already took the casing off. I put a slit in it and removed the casing. So I'm just going to add these in here as well. And we're just going to go ahead and kind of mix this up a little bit. You want to get it all browned. You really want to try to get this sausage kind of chopped up in there and loosen it up. You don't want too fairly big of a chunks. So you got the combination of the ground beef and the pork sausage. I think it would add a really nice flavor to it. Okay, and from right now I'm going to go ahead and add my seasonings. Alright. So right now I'm adding, this is about 1.5 tablespoons of cayenne, 6 tablespoons of chili powder, this is 1.5 tablespoons of ground cumin, about 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, and then it's going to go ahead and stir it and mix this all up. I'll get this all mixed and get it brown and we'll come back to this. Alright, so now we got the ground beef and the onions and bell pepper all browned up and it's looking really good. To this now I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Then you're gonna want to stir this good, and you're gonna want to let it kind of stew down a little bit. These tomatoes, get it all incorporated really good, and then and at this point too, we're also gonna add a little bit of salt. The tomatoes, the cans, you know, they have a little bit of salt, but we didn't add any with the meat or any of this other seasoning. So we're gonna go ahead and, at this point in the stage, add 2 tablespoons of salt. And we're gonna let this go for about a couple minutes, at least 10 minutes or so. Let this cook down and render off a little bit. Then we're gonna pour the whole thing into our bean mixture, and then we're gonna cook that for another simmer for about another hour and a half. So at this point, I'll let this cook down for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll put it in the beans. Okay, so now we're ready to put in the meat into our beans. And what we're going to go ahead and do is just transfer the meat mixture into our beans slowly and carefully. Okay, we're gonna stir this up really good. All right. So everything's about done. We're gonna go ahead and let this cook or simmer down for about another hour and a half or so. And while that is simmering down for about an hour and a half, the fun part begins, which is washing all the dang dishes. So anyways, we'll put back the lid on, and we'll check it once in a while and see how it comes out. All right, so it's been about an hour and a half, and so we're about to check on the beans. So this is what it looks like. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and serve myself a bowl and put a little bit of cheese and see how it came out. Okay, so this is the finished product. Let's go and put a little bit of cheese, and let's give this a taste test. Came out great. You should give this recipe a try. Came out pretty good.